This was actually an article from Pocket Gamer by Aaron Estel. Pokemon Go is celebrating its 8-year anniversary. I don't know if you guys can believe that. 8 freaking years since Pokemon Go came out. And it was a wild game. Honestly, something that kind of captured the culture of America. American culture, it really became a thing, like Fortnite. 2016, good Lord. That's been 8 years ago. Anyway, enough of me arguing about how old I am. Augmented reality, and it was so wild to see when it first came out, because the idea of seeing people out in a park, and it was old people too. I'll still remember the time me and my brother got into a car. We rode it on the backseat this random old couple my brother knew from playing Pokemon Go, and we sort of playing they were literally maybe 70, 80. This couple just playing together and having fun. It was insane. It was insane to see people that old playing a video game. And I'm thinking wow, this is a wild, it had a potential to be a super wild game. I don't think it ever really got to that point, where it's bringing in, people of all demographics. It kind of ended up settling into your typical demographic where, it's 20, 30 somethings, with, free time and, maybe limited responsibilities. I don't know, but it's always, though I will say, even in the sort of AR space, it's not quite your usual people that you'd expect to play a video game, where it's there's a lot of women that play the video game. If you see in the raid nights, it's mostly men, but there'll usually be a woman or two that kind of show up and enjoy playing it. Because there is a more of a social aspect to these games, and I think that does appeal to women, where they could go out, with their husbands sometimes, and play games, play together, go out in a park and walk, meet people. And that part of this stuff is really nice. I think Pokemon Go itself was not the best as far as games go, and this article kind of talks about it. I played Pokemon Go for 365 days, and it's still only Niantic's second best game. And then Go maybe biggest game, but can still learn a thing or two from Monster Hunter Now, which is a game I've been playing quite a bit. And I agree, Monster Hunter Now is definitely better. Let's getting into the article where they talk about you can stick to real Pokemon. And this kind of goes into, let's see, let's move down a little bit, starts talking about Pokemon Go. It's, simple 7th anniversary is 603 different species. It's insane. You can actually transfer them to the Switch. And even Go doesn't feature all, there's 1,025 Pokemon species now. Holy crap. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe there's this many Pokemon. I think they really have an issue as far as how to implement all of these in a single game. But raids, and this kind of, I think where he goes into it, and I think he's right about this, but I want to talk about raids are Pokemon Go's main source of rare, powerful Pokemon. But starting at level 1 trainer into 2023 left a lot to be desired when facing off against 5-star legendary Pokemon. Plainly, they weren't possible to beat. Effectively locking me and many novice players out of Pokemon Go's most exciting new content, unless you've got a local friend who's already invested in the game for years. Providing these long-term players with more gameplay and fiercer battles is a smart reward on Niantic's part, but it does demotivate newcomers like myself from getting too invested. The mountain's just too high. Even 1 year later, at level 33, I rarely attempt raids, instead stick to catching Pokemon in the wild, officially missing out on the key part of the game. And this is 100% true. If you want the strongest Pokemon to actually fight in raids, you have to do raids to get those Pokemon. So it really is self-defeating to have to play these things, and it's so necessary. At least with Monster Hunter. Now, you collect monster parts, you don't collect monsters. But after you like get these characters and then level up the characters too to make them good, I guess you could somewhat equate it to leveling up a weapon. But at least with Monster Hunter now, the weapons that you have available at all times without using raids are good enough to beat any monster you need to. So, the community days, we talked about community days are good, but I think the raid issue with Pokemon Go, they managed to solve it in Monster Hunter now. And then we talk about, Pokemon Go's new this time Capcom, but anyway, talking about Capcom. Now its prime advantage is a vastly superior multiplayer mode, allowing isolated players to join distant strangers in team-based hunt-a-thons. This made it possible through a link system where certain hunting points are mirrored in many locations, meaning the player who joined from any of those points can be matched together to take down a more challenging monster. This can also be joined for free every 3 hours in exchange for ultra hunting tickets. So they took the raid system rather than having remote raids where you have to pay money to join other people and then end up becoming like a really almost like a degenerate way to constantly level up. So like if you could just wail like crazy, you don't actually have to go out and play the game. You could just use stuff like a Go Genie or sort of like apps and a bunch of remote raid passes to sit in your home and play the game and collect these powerful monsters, powerful Pokemon and candy and stuff, level up materials for them. And this sort of like became an issue for Pokemon Go where Niantic's been trying to scale it back because they want people to actually go out and play it. At least, with the Pokemon or Monster Hunter Now raid system or, their version of it, you actually have to be at a raid point to play the game. I think that basically, and they've done like a good job with other Monster Hunter Now features, and I'll probably talk about them more. I think it is, as much as monetized as it actually is an extremely friendly, free to play game. It's they did a really good job with it. I think it's a much better game. And actually, I'd like to talk about it in comparison to gachas, because I think that's interesting. But I'm not going to go super into it right now, especially since I'm almost at an hour right now.